Welcome back to the channel, RevKev RC. Whew. Tell you what, I've missed you guys. And there's a couple of ladies. Last time I checked, something like 12 or 13% of my audience is female. So cool. I like to see that. I'm not scaring away the ladies. Yeah, I missed you guys. And I tell you, to you, I've probably been posting every day and putting up videos and whatnot. But I've actually been away from the workbench and all my beloved RCs for, 2 weeks? About 2 weeks. Went on a vacation with the wife. We'd been planning this for some time, going on a year, I guess. And we went overseas and toured Ireland all around, driving a car. That was insane. Driving over there is insane. The roads are like this wide. So yeah, it's a bit of a luck of the Irish if you don't crash into somebody, because everybody there drives crazy and the roads are very narrow. Sometimes a 2-lane road is barely wide enough for one vehicle, so somebody has to back down, literally stop, reverse into an area to wait for other people to drive through, and it's all blind. There's no signs. Not everywhere, but there's a lot of places where you wouldn't expect that you cannot simply just drive on your side of the road. Anyway, that was a good time. I got very little rest, and I have been thinking about getting back to all of you and continuing on in the channel. So, not to digress too much, but my little Axial Coyote has sustained some trail damage last time we took it out, trying to test some of the mods, and I have ordered the part. It got here actually the day before we left. This is the panhard bar with the links. The links actually didn't break. It was the bar itself that broke. So I'm going to replace that in this video. And I'm already noticing that these are black and the ones that came on the truck are gray. I don't know what that's all about. We're going to see if that even matters. If I need to, I will likely just use the original links because they're not broken. What broke on the panhard bar was the threaded portion inside the link. So I might have to do some shop tomfoolery to get that broken piece out if I do want to reuse that link. I'm inclined to say I probably do. I don't think the black ones are inferior, but maybe. I don't know. We'll see. Well, this is the part number. It says it's for this truck. Color aside, I don't know that there is a difference, but I suppose if there is, we'll cross that bridge when we get there. I also noticed a couple other things on here. I'm going to pop the body off and just talk about that real quick. Body is still in great shape. This is incredibly durable body. So really good job on Axial for the Coyote body. It's taken a lot of tumbles and it's been through its paces. I'll tell you that. So good on them for that. Let's see. I broke the panhard. While I was in here kind of looking around at it and just kind of seeing if I'd broken anything else, I noticed I made a mistake because I had talked about potentially changing the shock key mounting locations for the upper shock mounts, right? So these are the shock keys I talked about in another video that allow us to make our shocks cant towards the center to give us lowering the ride height, right? And I had kind of expressed that maybe I had gone a little bit too far and went all the way out to the very ends that I could. And in checking and trying to see what I could do to just kind of adjust them for a little bit more taller ride height, because I thought we were dragging our belly just a little bit too much on some obstacles that probably we didn't need to. I discovered that these two were not actually the same. One of these was a little bit higher and forward or something like that. So I went ahead and changed that. I don't think that actually mattered, but you know, it should be the same. You should make it equal. So I went ahead and swapped this back to here. It's as far forward as possible, which is still a far sight better than what it was originally, because originally it was maxed out all the way here where that screw is. So now we're still leaned back a little bit and a little bit up. So the front is better than where it comes originally. And then in the rear, I went ahead and moved it from all the way here and went back. I guess that's 2 holes. I skipped a hole and went to the next hole. So on the next run out, we're going to try that out. And while we're at it, I want to make this thing better at side hill. And I think that it might need a little bit more weight to allow these tires to grab. So I have these weights. I've had these forever. I use them in a lot of RCs. And these are disc brake styled wheel weights. And I'm fairly certain these are going to key right up in here because these are like a standard Endure wheel. These are pretty standard bolt pattern. I use these a lot. And if you want to add weight and you don't want to add brass parts, or you don't want to pay the cost to add brass parts like your knuckles and C-hubs and all that good stuff, this is a very, very, very good and cost-effective way to do it because you're getting weight out wide and low on the truck. And it's unsprung weight. You know, is it going to be potentially hard on the drivetrain? Yes, it will be harder on the drivetrain, but this is a crawler and it's not super fast. And I have the drag brake dialed in to where it's gradual at speed and then immediate when you're going very slow. So the way I've tuned this Hobbywing 2300 Pro will protect me from breaking this unless I do a whole lot of high traction forward reverse very rapidly. You know, you can break anything, but I've used these a lot and I've had these for a couple of years waiting to go on another RC. Oh, look, there's some screws falling out. So looks like I've already maybe opened these and stolen some screws. So I might have to go ahead and investigate my screw situation to see if I have enough. The screws that are in these hubs just might be long enough, but they give you longer screws just in case. And these are not super heavy. You can actually buy these even heavier. If I can find them on Amazon again, I'll throw a link in there. There is a part number. Let's see, that's so faded because it's been in here for so long. Yeah, good luck with that. B-lock rims, wheel weights for B-lock rims, 1.9. Yeah, so these for the 1.9s. So I'm fairly confident these are going to work just fine. And of course, there's another fly in here. Super happy about that. But I got a ton of these screws from building wheels over the years. So if I don't have enough of these or they're not the right length or whatever, I'll figure it out and we'll make sure we put it on camera and show you. But what this is going to do besides adding weight is it's going to make the truck ever so slightly wider. And that is going to come from the fact that as wide as this is down in here, we're going to widen the truck up that much. So I don't really have a good way to measure the before and after, but let's see. We're going to pretend like I know what I'm doing here. And we may see an appreciable length. Geez, that fly is annoying. A width difference. So looking how with the tape eyeballed up to the outer edge on the passenger and then the outer edge on the driver. We're looking at, let's see. That's just a little bit over 9.5 inches. A little bit over 9.5 inches. So if this translates in here, what it looks like, probably going to add, I don't know, 1/4 inch each side. And I think that after we put these on and measure it, we should see that in the tape measure, even though it's fairly imprecise on how I'm doing it. But anyway, that's what we're going to do. We're going to fix it, and then we're going to add our wheel weights to get a measurement. And then we're going to test it. Probably not in this video because this is going to take a few minutes anyway. And I just got back. I got a whole lot of things I have to organized from, you know, unpacking and my trip and whatnot, but I do want to make some content for you guys because we can't leave this thing out here in the cold, broken, and sad. So we're going to make sure that we get her all fixed up. And a lot of people have commented and expressed that they like the how-to type content. And these are just out of camera off to the side over here. They like to see this kind of stuff. So another guy, he recently commented, and I apologize if you're watching this. He said he likes the way I do these videos because it's like he's hanging out with a buddy, which is cool because, you know, why wouldn't that be cool? If I could hang out with all of you, I would. But we're all in some other location somewhere. Get off of it, across the world. Ooh, cool. There's hair in there. I like that. That's fun. Nice. Just kidding. It's gross. I'm just going to start that back on there just a little bit. Gotta love power tools. Start that back on there a little bit. Just so I don't have to really babysit it. Tell you what, I'll weigh this before and then weigh it after, and then we'll have a good idea of what these actually weigh while we're adding to the truck. I don't have the 4 scales cool setup like a lot of the other guys do. I don't know. Do you guys care? Does that even matter? We know that adding weight down low and out to the sides is going to be beneficial to this type of RC. So, could I probably get away with just doing the fronts? Would that maybe make it climb better? Maybe. But with the overdrive and the shock position, I think it is going to climb just fine. I think it climbs just fine as it is. And if we're doing equal weight front and rear, and the bias is already to the front, I don't think we're going to be hurting the climbing performance by adding it all the way around. But it will 100% improve the side hilling performance. So, yeah, that's what we're going to do. All right, so the panhard is attached in 2 spots. There's one up here, which it looks like. Oh, I got it. Oh, I'm a ninja. Got it. That's gross. So it looks like I'm going to have to... Oh, nope. Oh, wait a minute. Where's the screw? Is that a screw? What am I looking at? Oh, it's on this side. Okay. It's right back there. So this is one of those situations where having ball end tools and extensions makes your life easy. So now I can take my 2mm and just fish it right in there. Ball end is what I mean. See how it's kind of rounded? That lets us take it off the angle. We don't got to be straight on with it. Now, if this doesn't come loose easily at first, because that's a metal panhard bar, we might need to go ahead and use a regular... Yeah, that's not coming loose. A regular one, or a one of these, just to get it loose enough to work with the ball end. We're not trying to strip this, but I don't want to spend all day trying to get in here with one of these. I could take the shock loose. That would make this easier, but oh, jeez. Yeah, I'm just going to take the shock loose. Get it out of my way. Set that aside. Move that. We're going to get in here with our standard, old school. So I'm saying don't get rid of these. Boy, that's tight too. No wonder it wouldn't work. Break this loose. Man, they use Loctite for sure. Let's see here. Yeah, that ball was slipped over. Boy, they used plenty of Loctite, I'll tell you that. All right, she's coming loose. Just want to get it loose enough to where I can use the ball end, because this is a lot. Try it out to the side instead of over the top. Oh yeah, okay. Now we're cooking with gas. Got that out. She's free. Let's go ahead and free up the other broken side. So over here, that's another one that's going to be kind of at an angle. It's not too bad. It's going into plastic, so we shouldn't have to compete with thread locker. Let's see. Come on. Which way can I move you to get... There we go. It's got to be smarter than the inanimate objects. All right. So that's where our breakage is. Inside. Broke off. Inside there. Well, that's annoying. Do I want to reuse this? Let's look at these. Is this different? Is it just black? They look like they're the same thickness. Probably. Plastic might be better because it didn't break. The metal broke. Is it worth the trouble to try to dig this out of here? Can it even be done easily? Can't really get a hold of it. I had previously mentioned that I would just kind of like remove a millimeter or so of this plastic so I could get a hold of this and then take it out, which I could do. Maybe I'll just swap the ball ends and call it good. I'm just going to do that. Yeah, I'm just going to do that. I don't think I feel like fighting it. Yeah, I'm just going to do that. Yeah, well, I got this. Go ahead and take that off. I'm going to keep the other one and have these as spares. Oof. That's on there. Is it reverse thread? It's got to be a reverse thread. Yep. That's good to know. All right. this is that end. So we'll take our, I could put the gray one back on. Nah, I'm just going to run the black. We're going to see if there is a difference at all. This is going to be a chore. Are these the different sizes? Maybe that's the difference. Are these different sizes? Maybe. It looks like the hole in the gray one's a little bit bigger. Perhaps I don't have a choice. I know you got to create your own teeth or your own threads, but man, that's difficult. Let me put it in the vise. We'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. And a interesting development. I couldn't get it to go on, but this is reverse thread. So this is tightening it on counterclockwise, which is counter what is normal. So when attempting to copy that on this one, it wouldn't go on because this is regular threads, both sides. Both of these screw on normal. Regular, normal, clockwise tightens, counterclockwise loosens. So it's different, and I don't know why, because these two dimensionally are the same. Near as I can tell, they are the same. So it doesn't actually matter. It's still going to work just fine. But if you buy this part, don't try to copy the way that this one comes off, because it doesn't go on the same way. So something we learned there. So now this is going on no problem. Regular righty-tighty, lefty-loosey fashion. I'm going to screw these on here and come back. You guys don't need to painfully watch me do this. Okay, we got them all screwed in. Now there's going to be a particular orientation that these need to be in relation to this bend. The bends was what gets us around all of our things up here in front. It's over here. Our servo spool is the main thing that it was getting around. So that's the big deal with this bend here. But these links are going to have to be oriented just so to make the link ride how it's supposed to. I don't know how it's going to look in there, but we'll put one side on and then see what it looks like, bearing in mind where this curve needs to be and which side is which. This is the side that broke. This is the side that's up here by the panhard, so it's right there. Probably throw that side in first because it was a more difficult one. And then we can adjust this. Now, in regards to these both being regular right hand twist, righty-tighty, lefty-loosey, and this being the opposite, functionally it doesn't matter. However, I think maybe it's for ease of tuning the length, the overall length of this bar, the track, or the, it's not a track bar. Is it a track bar? It's a panhard bar. There's a lot of terms for these things. There's like the drag link and steering link and panhard bar. But I've heard track bar. Some of these things I think are used interchangeably, so whatever. In any case, you can adjust the length of this by unscrewing a little bit each end. Now, if you have these two ends captured and you spin this one direction or the other, it should allow it to equally lengthen or contract. And then I guess since this is opposite on both sides, you should have the exact same effect. The only time that you wouldn't have that effect is if one was right hand twist and the other one was left hand twist. Then you would basically you'd have no length change, because as one gets drawn in, the other one gets pulled in or pulled out. But you know what I'm saying. So let's pop these balls back in here. Wouldn't it be something if these balls didn't fit? They look like the same to me, so yeah. Pretty easy. Okay, this is the side that broke. We're just going to look in here, see how our bend. I'm going to use this shock to pull this up. There we go. We need that to be, suppose, like that. Yeah, so it clears. So I think that is probably, we'll grab it with the pliers once we get the screw in there, which was this screw, one with the flat on it. Get a couple of threads started in there so can't back out. So that's going in pretty easy. Probably just finish it off and then torque it real quick. Pretty certain this is the orientation it's going to go in, because you'll notice the long side after the bend is what broke, and that's how we have it oriented in here. The longer side towards the pan hard. Yeah. Click. Yep. That's torque right there. All right. That is going to clear that just fine. This needs to be, let's see, where are you? Right there. So that's going to have to get rotated. I think this is going to be quick. Quick RC repairs and other lies we tell ourselves. It's simple, not quick. All right, now that I got one in free, have a real good look at it. I can't see why this would matter so much. But I'm not a suspension master, so I know we want this bar and this bar to be as parallel with each other as possible. And it looks like that's what's occurring here. Tell you what, I'm going to dig out the manual and just have a look at the diagram. All right. There is not a great diagram in here, but what I did find, and was useful, was that. Now this is oriented on this page so that this is the front and the top is that way and the bottom is that way. And you can see that if you're unsure based on the C-hub thing right here, the longer portion goes towards the bottom because that's the additional length for the portal height. So we know that that is the bottom. And then we look up at our diagram here, we look at the different shapes of our links. I had everything assembled here correctly. I just, in the upside down and on video nature of this issue, I installed it 180 backwards. So all I did was took it out, flapped it around, and she's in there right, and it looks like it did before. So if we look in here, we can see that the panhard is clearing the servo winch just as close as it did before, and everything looks like it's supposed to. So that is fixed. We're going to call that good, and we're going to move on to these wheel weight / extensions. They're not so much that you're going to need longer stub axles either. They're not adding a whole lot. Probably. I say that and I didn't even test it, but I've used these a bunch and I've never had to add anything longer or do any other modifications to make it work. So let's just put you aside. We're going to get us a Go Fast bit and take these apart. I'll probably just do the one, stick it on, and then show you the end result of all of them on there. What else we got? We need you. Let's see. Yep, 2.5. And as always, if something crazy happens, we'll talk about it. That way you'll know when it comes time for you to potentially do this. And this obviously, this will work for any 1.9 if this bolt pattern matches that bolt pattern. But so all we're going to do is add a little bit of extra length inside of here and some weight. So let's get started. Make sure you guys can still see me. Yeah, the screws that came with these wheels, the ones that are holding the hub on, they're not any longer than they absolutely have to be. So I don't think we get away with reusing those. Those are very stubby. But they give us screws. Yeah. Yeah. Get out of there. There we go. And that's all we're going to do. That's it. You just take that, and then you take that, sandwich them together, line them up. I'm going to use my little broken piece here because it is just very coincidentally the right size. Maybe I'll line up one and then the other instead of trying to do them both at once. There it goes. If you look in there, it's not perfect, but you can tell that they do line up. Oh, that might even be the right thread pitch. Wouldn't that be hilarious? So we'll take one of these, Stick it in there. Get it lightly started. Yeah. So yeah, you can see they all line up. That's going to work just fine. We've got some extra sticking out there. So we know what kind of screw we could get away with. It could be probably an 1/8 inch shorter. That length doesn't hurt us. I'm just going to use what we have. This is clearly not enough looking at this, but I got a drawer full of these things. So let me just check real quick. Since we're over here. Oh, that was too short. Too short. Too short. Oh, there we go. There's a bunch. Too short. Yeah, let's just roll with what we got. These are, those might be a different pitch. Those look like a different pitch. We'll find out. I don't usually Loctite these because it's not a basher. So I'm just going to show you what it's going to look like on this one. It's a little trick I told you before using power tools. Hold the workpiece lightly so that when you get the torque, you don't break your screw off or something crazy. If you're using high-speed stuff. Just kind of nip these up. Now you'll notice that we've taken up some space inside of our hub. If you were using a large flanged wheel hex, that might interfere. We'll see. Okay, that's on. I'm gonna go grab my scale and we're gonna weigh this compared to one without it. Hold on. All right, we're back. Let's turn this thing on. What are we in here? Grams. Okay. One of these weighs 57 grams. Let's see how consistent they are. 57. 57. Cool. That's pretty consistent. I mean, we're talking about extremely, extremely cheap. All right, we got the ones no weight. 182 grams. 241 grams. So there you go. Those are your numbers if you like numbers. These are heavier and you can feel it. You can feel this is heavier. So I like that. That's what you're getting. Total weight is going to be 56 times 4 is how much weight you're adding. So, you know, let's see, 50 times 4, that's 200, and 6 times 4 is, was that 20? No, 24. So 224 grams. Is that right? Somebody check my math. Let me know in the comments. I've never been a math guy. Anyways, that's what you're getting with these wheel weights. And like I said before, you can buy them and you can buy them thicker. They're going to be just literally thicker. Same everywhere else, just taller in this dimension here, and they'll be heavier. I've got those on something. They might be on my Capra, or could be on my CJ7 Axial, which is a very sweet rig. I'm gonna have to cover that one day and show you what I've done to it. But that is that. Let's stick it on. Because I have enough of these screws to do at least one more wheel, I'm going to put these in the front. You know, yes, if I find ones like this, then they'll all be equal. But if we're really splitting hairs, these screws make this slightly heavier than shorter ones that will still work, which these won't work. These are too short. But we'll put them in the front for the sake of knowing that we had just a tiny bit more weight up front. And these are going to go on, no problem. Just like that. And that's going to fit in there just fine. Enough room for the flanged nylock nut and the end of the tool to fit all the way in there. So that is good to go. That is going to be a huge improvement. So off camera, I'm going to put the other one together for the front, mount it, and then I'm going to find some more screws to do the other two. Okay, I got her all together. It took me quite a while to find enough screws to get it all done. There's a bit of a mismatch confabulation of screw lengths, but we got it all together. And this is what it looks like now. The weight is significantly greater. It's noticeable. You can tell when you pick it up. It is still biased to the front. Nice. Be even more when we put that battery in there. And let's see. Let's check out our width. Did the width change appreciably? Yes. That is enough that I can say without a doubt it is wider. Lining this up over here, eyeballing the edge. Previously, the outside of the tire was just about a little over a half an inch over 9.5. It was just a little over 9.5. Now it's out here. So I'd say we likely added a 1/4 inch each side, half an inch total, something in that realm, which is roughly what I had been kind of guesstimating. So we definitely made it wider with the wheel weights and low down and heavy. And that's a pretty attractive too. You can see disc brake in there that actually turns like a real vehicle. So something I forgot to mention. So I'm going to grab my remote here. In the post-run footage, I talked about the dig not working correctly. Now you'll notice that that is different. What had happened was, you love that phrase, is when I set this up and put it in and tested it on the bench, I was only using it for short durations of time. And the receiver and the system that I had it on before, I could not set endpoints. It was on almost like an analog. There was no endpoint setting for this. And if you can do it with the 6-channel Dumbo that I had it on, I'm sure you can do it some way. I don't know how to do it, but what happened was the servo was constantly trying to pull full direction that way and full direction that way, depending on what mode it was in, either dig or regular 4-wheel drive. So I already had this. Well, what happened, it burned out the TR4. That servo is a very good servo, and it tried its hardest for as long as it could. And eventually it just gave up the ghost because I had not set the endpoints because it was working. And it didn't seem like it was having a whole lot of problem with it. So what I found out is that the servo just gave up, and it gave up on the bench in that post-run footage where we were talking about the dig not working. And off camera, I figured it out. And I already had this from a takeout and decided, well, to heck with it. It's already ready, and it already mounts in here. This mount was made to work with this servo. So, and the servo saver was already on it. So I went ahead and just used it and dropped it in, plugged it in. It required a servo extension because this was a little bit short. So I got a servo extension sitting right here. But I set the endpoints on this so that it's not going to kill itself trying to go all the way that way, all the way that way, because the movement arc for the dig in the transmission is actually quite small. And I'm going to throw a battery in here and get my remote and show you, and then tell you how to set your endpoints on here so that you don't do what I did. And that is another kind of downside. If you buy this, you're going to have to get a radio that you can set endpoints on, because the one that it comes with doesn't have enough channels, and you can't set endpoints on it, even if it did. That I know how. Like, maybe you could go in there and do like the hold the throttle and the remote or the steering while you power it on to go into trim setting modes. A lot of radios from Spectrums can do that, but I just put it on the DDF 350 and call it good. And I'm going to show you on camera here how I did it, in another feature that I added to this that it was never intended to do. But if you have the right radio and you're clever, you can do it. So I'm going to grab a battery and my radio. Okay, got the radio on, got the truck on, and just want to show you with the added weight, steering servo is not struggling. She's just fine. In fact, the speed is probably unnecessary, but just to show you, it works just fine, even with the added weight. On rubber, high traction rubber, it's going to work just fine. Okay. So I put it on the DDF 315 or 350 to solve this problem. But I also, I also did that because I didn't like that my winch on the 6-channel Dumbo, the analog style, was not how I wanted it. It was like the buttons were here. Like, instead of these knobs, it was a in button and an out button or something like that. Hard to reach. This orientation gives me the ability to drive and steer, and then use the 3 and 4 channel on top as my in and out. Nice and fast. And in this remote, you can tell it that there's a winch on these channels, and you can tell it how fast you want it to operate. So I'll go ahead and show you that. See if I can find it. Nope. Perhaps it's in this one. Cruise control. Oh yes, and now I have cruise control, which I did not have before. So K10, which is down here, initiates it, and then it will be controlled by, what was that, 5? Channel 5. So just to give you a little demo, we initiate it here. Now throttle doesn't do anything. This is what I've referred to in other videos with the JK07 as parking brake. It won't move, and I can't bump the throttle and make it move. The only way it'll move is if I turn this dial. And that's a variable rate, so I can make it go faster or slower. With the dial. And then turn it off, and back to normal function. Just like it's supposed to be. All right, I think I made channel 8 lights. Yep, that's what I like. I always like having my lights consistent across RCs. Channel 8. Channel 9 is unassigned. That might be something later, who knows. I tend to want to do things even when I say I'm not going to do it. Okay, so you may have noticed that front has drive and the rear isn't moving at all. Well, that is a cool little party trick you can do when you have a remote like this. Now, I'll just show you real quick. I'm kind of going off on a tangent, but that is how you do cruise control on the DDF 14 or DDF 350. It has its own modes. Let's see. Steering curve, brake curve, throttle curve, gyro. Let's see. Tank, which is cool. All right, so here's your winch. You tell it which one you want to do what, right? So I want 3 to be the one that pulls in, 4 to be the one that lets out, and you can tell it how fast you want each one to operate. I just left it at 100 for it doesn't matter. Like if I wanted it to winch in slower, I could change it right here, or to let out slower, I could change it right here. But I'm fine with it being 100% full speed. Anyway, there's a lot of stuff you can program in here. Let me go back to the reason I even got this out. So you look at channel 7. Channel 7 on here, I've made some dots to make things easier so you know where the remote is on here, right? So right now it's in the center. Move it all the way back that way. You can change that, by the way. And now the rear is in dig. We're in dig. How it's supposed to be. And if I move it all the way forward, that way, we're in 4-wheel drive. Just like normal. Just how it's supposed to be. Now, if I put it in the middle, right there, now I have front-wheel drive only, and the rear is open, free rolling. There are advantages to be able to do this. The advantage, sometimes when you're climbing up, you don't want the rear to push at all, but you also don't want it to hold you back. Being able to turn the power off and brakes off completely on the rear is an advantage. It will help you hook more with the front and have the rear not trying to stop you from doing that. It's like I can still drive just fine and get the hooks in if I need to with the front. But I don't have to worry about the rear trying to push. Now this really only applies mostly if you're going uphill. So now with this transmission, there's no way to do that in the front where you have the front freewheel and the back have power. I'm simply taking advantage of programming a trim gap in the transmission utilizing the servo and my remote. So this is what it looks like if you look down here at channel 7. I'm going to show you the numbers, what that looks like when you go to actually program it. So let's keep going. Channel 7, that's it right there. So our A switch is at -11. That's going to give us our dig. That's what we've programmed it. I'm going to show you why these numbers are what they are. And depending on how you set this up, it might not be exactly the same for you. But I'm going to show you how to do it. And then for B, which is our middle, our rear having no power, our rear is free rolling. That's negative or positive 16. And then if we go all the way, that's our dig. I'm sorry, that's our 4-wheel drive. Normal, call that normal, I guess. That's going to be positive 60. These numbers don't mean anything as a standard because it's going to depend on what servo you use and your servo saver and all that stuff, all the linkage variables. You might call them like stacked tolerances built in the servo, built in the saver, and in your individual dig setup, how you have it. So if we look, I have a line, a marker right there. The reason I did that, because I wanted to see what the servo saver looked like at rest. So if I were to do like that, you can see that this is separated here. Let me bring you guys a little bit closer. I can't get my remote too close, otherwise the truck will start acting weird. Okay, there we go. Okay. So you see, I've used that mark to indicate where The servo saver is the most relaxed. Right there, the servo saver is stressed, so the spring, and then once I add a little bit of throttle, everything inside the transmission keys together, falls into place, and then the servo saver goes back to its most relaxed position, at least as far as it can in this orientation. That is the idea, is to see right there, I hit a little bit of reverse, the parts inside of the transmission and the dig and all that lined up, fell into place, got keyed in, and then the servo saver goes back to a more relaxed position. That is a good way to set your endpoints for each, or for each position, whether it's this one, or this one, right? Is to pay attention to how your servo saver behaves, whether or not you're forcing that spring to open up a bunch or not. Now, because we're using a servo saver and a spring, we are in fact making the servo work as little as possible to achieve what we're trying to achieve here. So this is designed to, let me pull you back out. This is designed to do two directions, all the way that way for your dig, which I think it's in dig right now. Nope, it's in four-wheel drive. Or all the way the other direction for dig. Now, I have simply taken advantage of the fact that I know that there is at least some margin of freedom inside of the dig transmission to add a free roll. You can hear it. It's not perfect. It's not really meant to be used like this really at all. But because we have precise digital measurements that we can play with, and I'm going to show you right here. Let me scroll on down to what I have programmed B position on channel 7, the middle. We're going to open it up for modification, and I will cruise control it and then show you. I'm going to roll the knob up and down to change that value. It's at positive 16, which I know that that's right for my build and the tolerances inside of what I have. So I'll start it. Let me hold it up a little bit. I'm going to turn the knob to add. And you'll see right now, I've got no rear drive. It's not making any crazy grinding noise. But if I start to change this value, which I'm going to roll the knob, and you can see I've got it up to 19 right now. I'm just going to roll this knob until you hear it. Starts to sound kind of cruddy, right? And now we don't have a free rolling car anymore, or rear end. I'm all the way up to 24, plus 24. Now I'm at negative 12, negative 29. Now we're in dig. We've gone too far. So what I'm simply doing is I'm seeing at what point does the rear end not become driven or locked. That's negative 9. That's pretty close. A little bit clanky, a little bit clacky. Now if I go back up to the 16, the positive 16 where I had it before, I get the cleanest sound, very little gear noise coming from the truck itself. So I know that if I want to utilize that little hidden feature, that on my truck, plus 16 for the B position is going to be how I achieve a free rolling rear end when I want it. When I don't want it, when I want dig is negative 11, and that was simply done by running the truck off the surface of the table so I could watch dig engage and then watch how my servo saver moved and relaxed after it engaged and everything synced up inside here. That's what we're looking to see. Oh, cruise control still on. So dig's functioning, locked up nice. Change it to the middle position. I'm in neutral, rear end neutral. This truck doesn't have a true neutral because it's not. If you had 2-speed, you could do this. This is the same thing I do with a lot of the trucks I have 2-speed. I'll program a neutral and the void in between the gears. So now we're at regular 4-wheel drive. And that is accomplished by having a 3-position switch and adjusting the trims. Come on, focus. Focus. Adjusting the trims so that, come on. We're not going to get it. Either way. Let me see here. Oh, that's better. Okay. Adjusting the trims so that you get the best of each position with the cleanest sound and the most crisp engagement of the function for each. So that is how you do it. What else? I think that's it. This truck is fully functional again and upgraded. And I think now we'll be able to climb things even better because I don't have to try to hook the front and drag the rear up something. I'm not going to be fighting gravity with the rear trying to pull me down because it won't turn. Now I can simply put it in neutral in the rear and allow the front to do all that work upward when I want to. This will also give you a really, really tight turning radius, especially when you need to go up and turn, because the rear won't be pushing. When the rear is pushing as you go up, it does make the front want to unweight and roll backwards. So if we turn off the rear, but not lock it like in dig, we will likely still gain progression upwards without having to drag the rear. So I think that's going to do it for this Coyote video. Let's throw the body on there and give it some proper respect. Turn the lights on, because who doesn't like lights? Coyote is back in business, looking real good, and I think it's going to be significantly more capable now, for sure. Yeah. I had trimmed the bumpers previously to clear the truck riding so much lower, but now that it's not riding so low, the bumper clearance is not necessary. But the truck being so much heavier now with the wheel weights and the shocks being slightly raised up, I think this thing is going to climb way better. We're going to take it back out to the obstacles that we got defeated on, including the one that was the original nemesis for this one. And we're just going to see what kind of cool, crazy things this thing will do now. I think it's going to do really, really well. And, oh yeah, it's definitely wider because it's clearing the body right here significantly better. It touched it before, but now it's not really touching it as much. So I think the Coyote is going to go out there and it's going to eat, as they say. It's going to do great things. And I'm super excited to film that and show you just how good it is. Oh, look at that free roll. I love that. Makes moving it easier too. Only got to pick up the one side. I think it's going to do great. Anyway, that video will come out here sooner or later. I got a bunch more content to make and put together for you guys. So I appreciate you coming out and hanging out for another long video here. I think maybe we all learned something. And yeah. Thanks all you newcomers, all you return viewers, new subscribers, old subscribers, all the people who have been supporting me. You guys are awesome. You know, my videos are long. It's like I'm just kind of hanging out with you guys, and we're doing some stuff. We're just kind of like buddies from far away. And yeah, like, comment, share, subscribe. Let me know what you think of the mods. And if you had questions about how I achieved the rear free roll or neutral, or are unsure of how to do the DDF 350, it'll work on any radio with 3-position switch. Any digital radio that has a 3 that you can adjust the trims. If you don't have something where you can adjust the trims similar to this with the knob and you can be as precise, then it will not work the way I've shown you. But if you have questions, if comments, leave them down below. I will try to find these wheel weights. I got them on Amazon like everything else. These wheels too. These are just probably Endura or RC Lions. Probably RC Lions. They're all kind of the same. And they're all just fine quality. They're all good enough for me. You'll never catch me spending a crazy amount on wheels if I don't have to. So anyway, appreciate you coming out, and I will see you in the next one. Peace.